do not own the rights to this music. Hello and welcome to another segment of Moments with Aqua. Today we will be discussing Married to the Backslider. Again, a time in my life, where I thought I was running from the Lord. Not thought, I was running, literally running from the Lord. The verse that comes to me when we think about the Lord being married to the backslider is Jeremiah 3:14, which states, "Return, O backsliding children, saith the Lord, for I am married unto you, and I will take you one of a city and two of a family, and I will bring you to Zion." Just a small breakdown of that. Returning, O backsliding children. God is calling back those who have strayed from Him. Remember I said I was running. I was in my late 20s possibly. Got saved at 14. And in between the ages of 14 and my late 20s, it was just a challenging time. And I know I am not the only one with this testimony. We all have our cross to bear, and we all have our path to Jesus, even though there is just one way to Him. How we get there determines the decisions we make along the way. But saith the Lord, for I am married unto you. The Lord is asserting His relationship with Israel, according to Jeremiah 3:14, and we're just going to relate it to my life when I'm done breaking it down. But the Lord is asserting His relationship with Israel as a husband to his wife, emphasizing a covenant bond. "And I will take you one of a city and two of a family, and I will bring you to Zion." God promises to gather a remnant from the cities and families, bringing them back to Zion, which represents the restoration of His people. Join me next, right now, for being married to the backslider. Next. Okay, welcome back to Moments with Aqua, Married to the Backslider. So, let's just get into it. It's so amazing how the Lord has literally postured my heart to share parts of my life that I have experienced. This journey has been amazing. And I've always been one that's been extremely private. But I've learned that even in being private in some things, it's a trick of the enemy. Because the enemy does not want you to share the hard times that you've gone through, the tough times that you've gone through, even the embarrassing, shameful times that you've gone through, to use as a testimony, because it gives God the glory. So even with me being private at times, I understand and recognize a lot of that was a trick of the enemy. So today I will be sharing another testimony. When I was at this time, I've had my 3 babies. I have 3 kids now, 2 boys and a girl, Larry, Devon, and Asia. I had moved from Toledo, Ohio to Miami. And during that time, I was saying to the Lord, Father, what's the difference? What's the difference of being saved and not saved? You still go through a whole lot of, my husband always laughs at me when I say crap, but that's exactly what it is. Sometimes when you go through life, it's just a lot of crap. And I was seriously going through a lot and felt that I needed to make a change in my life. And I was presenting this question to the Lord as a spoiled brat, because the Lord, he had kept me through this time in my life. Again, married at 14. At this point, I'm possibly about 26, 27 years old, and preparing to move to Miami. And so once I get to Miami, I get settled in. It was such a blessing because the kids got settled into the home that my mom was raised in. Can you believe it? Like, oh my, the history. Oh my gosh. But that's a whole nother story. So moving forward, I've gotten the kids, this is a few years later, I've gotten the kids settled into school. Actually, not even in the neighborhood that we were in. I was able to get what they called at that time an M&M transfer for them to go to school at G.W. Carver in Coconut Grove. And from there, they ended up at Sunset Elementary in Coral Gables. And also their junior high was Ponce de Leon. So those areas were great areas to raise children. It was just a blessing for them to have to go to school there. I was working as a medical claims examiner in Coral Gables. So that's how my kids were able to be located at those schools, and they were just great schools. I mean, it was just a blessing because the area that I was in, I had no desire for my kids to participate in the public schools in that area. So even that in itself is a testimony. So getting straight to the nitty gritty, I asked the Lord, what's the difference? I was pouting, I was crying, more like a 2-year-old. You know, falling out on the floor, kicking my feet. You know, it's just amazing how the Lord just put up with me, because, you know, I was a product of my own decisions, but I was going through not getting the kids to school on time. We were approximately maybe an hour and a half away. If any of you know Miami, Florida, the traffic there is, Atlanta don't have nothing. Or Miami in 95 north or south, 836, 826, all those interstates, horrible. But anyways, I would get my children to school late almost every day. I was so upset and frustrated with myself as to why I couldn't get my kids to school on time, and half the time I couldn't get to work on time. And thank God that my superiors just absolutely love me. Even God fixed that, because they were all so helpful and always lent a helping hand. That's another story too. But anyways, I come home on a Monday to no utilities, lights off. The only thing that we had going was our water. And again, I'm presenting to the Lord. See, I told you, I am just living paycheck to paycheck, not receiving child support, really just not help at all. I had a pretty good paying job, but you're talking about a single parent with 3 growing children, and just really, literally living from paycheck to paycheck. And so Monday comes, we come home, no lights, it's dark, whatever. I can't cook. The last that I had, I decided, my kids were hungry. Remember, there's an hour and a half of driving that we have to get from school to home. It's late. It's dark. So I just take them on down to McDonald's for them, to have something to eat. And during the time, I see this car pull up, and right away, now y'all gotta know, gifts are without repentance. Right away, I knew it was something wrong when those ladies got out that car. Because I looked at them and I said, there is no possible way these two women eat at McDonald's. I could just look at them and tell that they were not fast food eaters. And so I said to myself, here we go. I just knew the Lord was going to use one of them. Because at that point, while the children were eating, I had gotten a little despondent, trying to figure out what I'm going to do, and just sad. I didn't want to discuss anything with my mom, certainly not with my grandmother or anybody else, just wanted to figure it out for myself. And so they come in, they order, my kids are just talking and being pleasant as they normally are. And the ladies, they get back in the car, they drive off, and I'm like, oh, okay. But didn't even get out the parking lot. They make a U-turn, come back around. And I thought, see, I knew it. The one get out and she comes straight to my table. And of course she says, baby, I do not know who you are. And she said, but the Lord sent me back here. As a matter of fact, as we pulled up, we don't normally eat at McDonald's. That's what she said. In my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, I kind of knew that. But anyways, she gave me a word from the Lord that night. And the word was, in essence, the word is that the Lord sees you and the Lord hears you. Okay, so moving forward, we get to the house and I get the kids ready as much as possible, wash them down with cold water, and all of that. And the next morning, the sun is out, it's bright, the kids are getting along, they're not fussing, everybody's finding their clothes, and that Tuesday morning, it was like clockwork. I didn't have to scream, I didn't have to yell, I didn't have to look for shoes, I didn't have to do any of that. My kids were so good. Little Larry was helping me with Devon and Asia, and Devon normally gave Larry a hard time about everything, not just a few things. He used to give little Larry a fit, but this particular day he did not. So I'm happy. I'm in a peaceful place, right? I'm not realizing this really. All I know is that we're doing good. We get in the car, the kids get to school on time, I get to work on time. No traffic issues, none of that. And so this is Tuesday morning after Monday when I was despondent. We're at McDonald's. I receive a word from the Lord. And y'all have to remember that I said to the Lord, what's the difference between being saved and not saved? Because you still go through just crap, just life. Life just picks on you no matter who you are or who you say you are. And so in my backslidden state, the Lord was still sending people to me. And so from Tuesday to Friday, every single day, the kids and I, we get up, we're having a good time. We get to school on time, we get to work on time. I don't even know how we even got through that week with joy. We got through that week with food on the table. Even though the water was cold, I was able to wash my kids down and put them in clean clothes. As a matter of fact, my mom came over, I think on a Thursday, once we got home from school and work. And normally, we would go inside the house and sit and talk, because my mother is not an outside person. She's not going to sit on the porch. She's not going to sit on the stairs. She is not going to stand outside for no length of time at all. And do y'all know, we stood there. She stood at her car door and I stood at the banister of my porch, and we talked and we laughed. And I didn't even think to even tell her that we didn't have like no lights or anything, or really no food in the house at that time. And we spent maybe like 30 minutes together on that Thursday just talking outside. And when it was all said and done, I called the kids in and went through our routine, because we had to get settled before the sun went down. And so here comes Friday. I'm happy because I get paid every single Friday. And so I made my payment for my lights, and I had an electric stove too. It wasn't gas. So yeah, I think I was probably making sandwiches. I can't even remember what I was making, really, to be perfectly honest. But I do know that I had running water. So this whole week now, mind you, after Monday, Tuesday it was like a brand new start. Everything just ran like a well-oiled machine. And so here we are. We get our lights. They turned on, maybe they got them on Friday night, maybe Friday night or early Saturday morning. But anyway, Saturday morning, I'd gotten up, and I was notorious for like fixing my kids big breakfasts, like grits, eggs, bacon, all of that. They grew up on some healthy food and hearty food. I won't say healthy, but hearty food. And so as breakfast was done that day, I had not given a second thought to the entire week. I had not given a second thought that my lights had been off all week, and I just had to do the best that I could do without any help for anyone. I didn't cry for help to anyone. And so as I was washing up the breakfast dishes, and I'm just happy, I'm singing, I got hot water, I have hot water to rinse my dishes, and just happy. The kids are happy. Oh my God, I'm happy. And the Lord whispers to me, and I can just hear that small, still voice even to this day in my right ear, and he says, that's the difference. That's the difference. I stopped in my tracks and I stood at that sink, and tears began to roll from my eyes as the Lord took me back the entire week. How the kids and I got to school and work on time. How there was a peace that we had never experienced before. How they got along every morning and evening. How they cooperated and respected one another throughout that entire week. How they didn't complain, whether if it was a mayonnaise sandwich or a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I honestly do not remember what I fed those kids. I know we didn't have food, like food, but they were happy. They were happy. I was happy. Our fellowship together was just, there was a peace between the four of us, and we got through that week with sheer joy in the midst of not having one particular utility that made all the difference in the world. And those are your lights. You have to have, I needed lights to warm up my water. I needed light. I needed electricity to cook. I needed electricity to see. But the Lord took me back. How he kept me and the children the entire week. The whole world went on about their business, not even realizing what we were going through. No teachers, no counselors, no superiors at work. Nobody knew what we were going through. No friends, no family, no one. But God kept us in the palm of his hands. He made provision for me and my children during that week. And when I heard him say, that's the difference, I knew what he was saying to me. He answered my question. Me in my backslidden state, me throwing temper tantrums, me acting like I had every right. What do we call kids today? What's the word that we use for the kids who think that they are above entitlement? I thought I was entitled to get an answer from the Lord, but he was so merciful. He extended his grace upon my life, and he gave me an answer through that entire week. He kept me covered under the feathers of his wings. He kept me from all hurt, harm, and danger. He kept us that entire week. But needless to say, after that Saturday, after the Lord had taken me through with peace that entire week with my 3 children, it was my 3 and no more. Me, my 3, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. I got up early Sunday morning. My best friend Debbie is a witness. Because actually she called that pastor to let her know that I was going to be coming to church. Apostle Sarah Person. At the time, she was Pastor Sarah Person of the Way of Deliverance. But I made my way back to the arms of Jesus. I gave my life back to him. I decided I was not going to run anymore. There was no more self-entitlement. I humbled myself at the altar. I asked the Lord to forgive me. I was running back to him. Just as the song said, that song is such it's a sentiment to my heart. Running back to you, the one who loved me first, in and out of myself, when I didn't have understanding, when I didn't have knowledge. He still allowed me to run back to him. And guess what? He received me just like the prodigal son. He received me with open arms. That is my testimony of the Lord being married to the backslider. There's so much more that I could share, because the Lord would still deal with me in vision and dreams. He would still lead me to encourage others in my backslidden state. Remember, gifts are without repentance, and the Lord can use whomever he chooses. But he used me to prove a point to me that I was still his. In all my ignorance, I still belong to him. And actually, there's a part that I left out because I told the Lord that there is no difference between being saved and unsaved. What I didn't share with you is that this is entitlement. I said to the Lord that I was leaving him. I told him I was going back into the world because there is no difference between the two. Can you believe that? I told the Lord that. The mercy he showed on my life back then. Lord have mercy. But what he said to me when I said that to him, he said, go. It does not mean that I will not return with you being out there, but he sure told me to go. Since you want to have a temper tantrum and think you know it all, just like parents do, y'all. He was my father. He said, go ahead and go. I got a lesson I want to teach you. And he taught me a lot of lessons when I was out in my backslidden state, but he covered me. He didn't have to cover me, but he did. He received me back into the kingdom. And even when he received me back into the kingdom, there were so many other lessons that I needed to know and learn. So, for those of you who are in a backslidden state, the Lord will teach you a lesson, many lessons while you're out there, because his word says in Jeremiah 3:14, go ahead, look it up, study it. In your backslidden state, the Lord is yet drawing you back to him. He's married to the backslider. He loves you. He adores you. You are his child. And he is your father, married to the backslider. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I'm so glad that I was able to share a moment in my life with you, being married to the backslider. There's so much more that I could share, so many more experiences that the Lord took me through in my backslidden state. But that was one that he allowed me to go through that week. Just everything was on point, man. It was on point. And our God is sovereign, because at the end of that week, on that Saturday morning, he let me know, I am the king of all things. I am the king of time. I am the king. I am the God of your salvation. I am he who is married to you even in your backslidden state. I am a sovereign God. I am a merciful God. And it's just one of those times in my life that I hold true and dear to my heart. So for those of you who are struggling, for those of you who feel that there is no difference being saved and unsaved, man, go to Jeremiah 3:14 and allow the Lord to speak to you. Talk to the Lord. He sees you and he hears you. I hope to see you all next on Moments with Aqua. Not sure what I'll be sharing next, but trust me, I am going to have coffee in hand. It's probably cold now, but join me on the next segment of Moments with Aqua. I so look forward to seeing you all soon. Thank you for inviting me into your homes or wherever you are, and just taking the time to listen while I share a moment in my life of the Lord being married to me as a backslider. I love you all. I'll see you soon on the next Moments with Aqua. Have a great weekend.